Hi Flashtube, it's Diane. Today is February 8th, 2023, and I'm going to do a regular update video. When I looked at my last update video, I did not realize it was Halloween. So it's been a while since a regular update video. I've done some other little videos in between, but we are going to start with this. And my family, we're all fighting colds. I'm on the tail end of it, so I might have to pause and blow my nose. But I'm going to start with this. And this is my daughter's quilt. I got it back from the Long Armor. And here it is quilted. Let's see, can you see it better on the back? I'm trying to show you the pattern that they did. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. So it's kind of a hexagon spiral, and it just looks so amazing on this quilt. There, you could see it a little better. So like the hexagon, and then it goes in and goes around and goes around. So I just have to get the binding. I wasn't sure if I had the fabric for the binding, but I do, and so I have the binding all cut, sewn together, ready to put on. Then I'll sew it to the front and hand sew it to the back. This is a queen size. It's called Arcadia Avenue. And I need to kind of wrestle with it here in a second, and I'll put it aside. Okay. And then let's talk this one. Of the, oh, I didn't grab the book. The Fair Isle quilt. This is from studio180.net. I'm recording this on my tablet, so it's going to be a little different. So I'm getting used to where things are. This is the centerpiece. So if you imagine like 9 blocks all around, like a tic-tac-toe board, this is the center. So this is well, okay, it's been a block of the month, and some months you made units, some months you assembled the units. So this is through month 8. So that's the center block. And then month 10, I jumped ahead to month 10 because some of the months you made strips of units, and month 10 is putting them together. So I have 4 of these. So essentially, this will go here, here. So always with this strip at the center. So think block 2, 4, 6, and 8. So I need to get the corner blocks done, which is actually month 9 and 11. I don't know why they did it this way. It would make sense to make this block month 9, but the directions are very clear. And her tools are really fabulous to use. And then month 12, there are 3 borders. This dark fabric is the first border. It's a thin border. And then this fabric here, which is a really light, I think this is the one, is border number 2. And then border number 3 is a dark green. I don't think it's used yet, so that'll be the first time using it on the outer border. The finished quilt originally was supposed to be 98 by 98, but I'm making the outer border wider, so it could be 104 by 104, because this one is going on my bed, and my goal is to have this pieced by our anniversary in March, mid-March, with the goal of having it on my bed by May. So I'll take it in. This is going to be long armed. I'm going to quilt this with my credit card, if you will. It's going to be long armed. There's no way I'm going to long arm a king size quilt on my home machine. I don't have that capability. But that's all the quilting that I have done. I have project bags I need to sew also. I just haven't really been in the mood to sew. Sometimes you are and sometimes you aren't. But I have stitched. So this one was started in January. I don't remember. I think I'm going to say January 2nd or 3rd, right in there. And it's a Rosewood Manor. and it is Rackstraw Hill. One of my January Whipco numbers is 10 days on a Rosewood Manor, any pattern. So that's what I used this for. The problem with this was the piece of fabric that I have, which is a gift from my daughter for Christmas. I have enough that if I do it correctly, I can get more than one piece out of it. But so I'm like, okay, well then I'll just start in the upper right corner. But there's really not a lot to count from up there. And I don't trust my counting enough to make sure I would give enough room. Okay, well, do I start in the center? No, there's not enough stuff there really either. So what I'm doing is I did this. This I'm treating like the upper left-hand corner, like this is the top of the chart. So I am stitching this entire piece upside down because that gives me a good place to count from. And then I should have a strip over here and then some on the bottom that I can use for other pieces. This is a gorgeous piece. And my daughter surprised me with some linen from Stitchville for Christmas. And the linen, this is 36 count? Yes, 36 count Weeks Dye Works. And it is called Tiger's Eye. So I haven't done 10 days on this, but this is all DMC, 1 strand over 2 threads, and here's where I'm at. So that's that lower, I guess that'd be the lower left corner as you're looking at the pattern. Again, it's DMC, a lot of greens in there. Some blues, but mostly greens right now. And then I'll get up into the tree. And then my plan is just to keep going up. Eventually getting over, and then I'll know how I could trim my linen down a little bit. That will not mess up the way that my stitches go, because this is my top stitch. If you would look at my stitching, this is my top stitch. So I start lower right, go upper left. I'm seeing this backwards, so I'm hoping I'm doing this right. And then when I do the top leg back, it's lower right to upper left. If I turned it 90 degrees, my stitches would look odd. But going 180, they're still going the same direction is what I want to say. So, and as long as I stitch all the stitches, you know, make sure I turn my pattern, and yes, I even put a little sticky on here, so when I pull this out, I remember, oh, I've gotta. For me, personally, I thought that was easier than trying to count up, and I know some people like going from the bottom up. That's not how my mind works. So this works for me. Again, this is 36 count Tiger's Eye, and it's the perfect color for this piece. And that was a gift from my daughter. I remember I put my project bag. I love Rosewood Manor's designs. I've been hearing about her market releases, but I haven't seen a preview yet. I haven't had a chance really today to look. This bag I made myself. It's a vinyl covered bag. I don't really prefer the vinyl because I've had some of my supplies stick to the vinyl, even though I don't put them in the sun. I don't know if other people have run into that issue or not, but I try and keep, well, my fabric's touching it right now, but I'm trying to keep my fabric from touching it because I don't want my fabric to change. So there's one piece I stitched. This one I have not started yet, so I'm going to show that one when I get to haul. This one I have started, and it's a Bella Filipina. I started this in December sometime. Maria Makling. And 32 count J, J-A-Y, by Picture This Plus. And this way. So just a little blurb in the center. But I think she will look beautiful on this fabric. that I bought for another piece, and I never started that piece. So I shopped for my own stash. She's stitched mostly with DMCs. And the Krennics that are called for, I changed those to a treasure braid for the blending filament. And some of the metallics I changed to petite treasure braids. But then some of them she has blends where you take one of this and put it with DMC. I changed those to silk lamaze. So she's going to still have the sparkle and the softness. And how I did that is I was at Stitchville. This was from Black Friday shopping. I had my heart scan done, and then I went to Stitchville on Black Friday, and everything's good with my heart. My aneurysm is still the same size as it was, but all the measurements on, you look at all the medical terms, I had to get my Google, what does this medical term mean? So we're good, we're in the normal range. But then I went to Stitchville and I literally took the Krennic called for, oops, I put the picture back in, and took the DMCs that were part of the blends that are called for in this piece, and I took them to the petite treasure braid in the silk lame wall, and then found something close. That one is going to be hauled. This one, also Rosewood Manor. This one I did start in December. Whoops. Nope. I did not start this one yet. I started Winterhill, and I thought that was in this bag. This one's Autumn Hill, and I have not started Autumn Hill yet. But I might have it in my stash. If I don't, then I'll, next time I stitch on it, I will show it. Oh, this one. I had some finishes in December, and this is the Fragments in Time 2022 by Summer House Stitchworks on 40 count Woodland Brown, and I have all 8 of them done. There are 8 of these released each year. Now, some of you are going to go, wait a minute, your squares aren't totally lined up. Take a deep breath, it's okay. I am making these individual cushions, so I didn't worry about that. I know that she, on her website, has a free border that you could put between them and around them to stitch this as one piece to hang on your wall. And I've seen both. I've seen as the individual cushions, and I've seen as one piece, and both ways they're beautiful. But I will be cutting these apart, so that's why they're not perfectly lined up, but they're okay. I am using the called for colors, 1 strand over 2 threads. I haven't decided if I'm going to stitch this set again or if I'm going to stitch one of her next for other years. I have several of them. I have 2018 that I found at a stitching event. I found 6 of them on the freebie table. And I also have 2021. These are Fragments in Time 2022. The entire set is done. And I have not seen pictures of 2023 if she's going to continue doing them. Hopefully she does. They're fun. They're all the same size, so they're a good size. This one, I started in December and then I restarted it. Aquila. And I am interpreting this, I could totally be wrong on this, that this is the sun, this is the moon, and then these are like a planet, because she's the queen of the skies. I could totally be misinterpreting that. I started her in the middle. I was not happy with starting her in the middle because I felt, no, I need to just start her from the top down, and how she is with this medallion behind her. It would be very easy, and the center is about right here. So I also subbed the Krennics called for petite treasure braids, and on Black Friday I bought the petite treasure braids, and here's what she looks like. So this is Rolling in the Deep from Fiberlicious, so it goes from the really dark purple to this really light pink, And I could have done her this way, but I thought she would look better this way. This is 32 count. It's linen. The one that's pictured on the cover is also a Fiberlicious fiber, and I thought of ordering that. But then I had this in my stash, and I thought, no, I bet you she'll look beautiful on it. And she does. Look at the metallic. So I think she has 4 metallics in her, and I've used 3 so far. 2 golds, and then this fuchsia. And there's also DMC in here. And a lot of these open spaces you see in here, a lot of those will be beads. So she's going to be pretty bead heavy up here on these medallions. And so I think I have the entire outer ring done, like to here. Because if I remember right, these are all beads. And then obviously I have to do the center. And then this is, I don't think you could see it very well, the start of her hair. So her head starts in here. So I'm getting there, and I'm really liking it. And the metallics are beautiful. The blues that you see on here, those are DMC at this point. 2 strands over 2 threads. The metallics, 1 strand over 2 threads, whether it's the number 4 Petite Treasure braid, or excuse me, Krennic, or the Petite Treasure braid. Otherwise, on like a 32 count or 28 count, if you do more than 1, no, it'll drive you nuts. Also, I have 2 needles on here. This one is my metallic needle, so when I'm not using it, I leave a strand of metallic thread in it, because it's just a regular embroidery needle. But once I use an embroidery needle for metallics, it's a metallic thread needle until it needs to be thrown away. The metallics can put little burrs in the eye of your needle, and that could damage any future threads you put in that same needle. So this one would be for the cottons, and this one is for the metallics. That's why I have 2 needles on there. Otherwise, you know, I live in Minnesota, so it's okay to leave my needles in my projects. Otherwise, I just have 1 needle. I know some other places, because of humidity, I mean, we do get humid here in the summer, but not this time of year. And where most of my stitching is stored, it's pretty cool and more climate controlled. So again, I subbed out, oh, there's 5 metallics. No, I'm sorry, there's 4, but there's 2 cards of one of the golds. So I think you had to have 2 spools, so I just got 2 cards. I did that on Black Friday, but her colors are just beautiful. So I restarted her in January for the Teresa Made Me Do It Sal. Also in January for the Garon Stitchery Designer Focus Sal. Whoops. January was the Blue Flower. And I have a few of her pieces. Here's my scissors. And I wasn't sure which one to do. So I just did this one. This is the Spring Forest Scrapbook that she collaborated with Lindy from Lindy Stitches on. And part 2, these 4 are her designs, or the Blue Flower, is it Janine? Yeah, Janine's designs. Part 1 are Stephanie from Lindy Stitches designs. And the goal, I am going to stitch it with all 9 blocks together. So this one is a Blue Flower, and that is the block I started on. So I figured out where the center was and just measured down 3 inches. And that's where I started. And here is where it's at. It's the little the squirrels? No, the raccoons. These little raccoons here. Looks like they're taking a shower. Like the flowers are their shower head. They're really cute. I'm not necessarily using the call for colors. I didn't have some of the overdyes. I had some, but I didn't have all of them. So it's if I remember right, it's a mixture. Yeah, it's a mixture of DMC and overdyes. I dropped my threads on the floor. I just went to my stash. There are some conversion charts out there, and I started there. But what I did on some of them that I wasn't sure about, excuse me, is I chose the DMC equivalent and then saw what matched. Oops, I forgot to put the picture in. But yeah, that was the January designer focus. I didn't stitch on it very much, but it's a piece that I could see the kids have to go to the dentist, or is that kind of piece, travel piece. That's what I'm trying to think of as a travel piece. Okay, that's also all. January 1st. I started Amelia Boyce by, I did a lot of stitching, so I've got a lot of stuff to go through. This is by the Scarlet letter. It's all DMC. You could do, I think she does give you NPIs. Oh, I'm sorry, Aversoise is an alternative. But I'm doing the DMCs. 1 strand over 2 threads on 40 count ivory, and here's where I'm at. So the top border and the side border, those are 2 different colors, and then I was starting on the flowers. I only stitched on her for like 2 days, maybe, definitely on January 1st, maybe just 1 day. I am not sold on this fabric, which I think is why I'm not that far on it. I mean, it's a basic ivory linen, but it's just, I don't know. It's a little crusty. Now I have her on a scroll like this, and I Frankenstein my Q snaps to make the scroll. Maybe I'll get farther on her. I don't know. My WIPCO numbers for January were the 10 days on the Rosewood Manor and 10 days on a Fancy Lady. So Aquila definitely worked on both of those. For February, it's a sampler, and any project that has blue. It could be in the name of the designer, blue fabric, blue thread somewhere in the design, even if that's not what you're stitching on. That Amelia Boyce qualifies for both of those. So I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to pull her out again, because the reality is there are a couple of other pieces that are calling to me, and this is one that I don't have any progress to show, so I'm going to put that one aside. The other, or the main piece that I just, she's got me. There's her bag. I know I brought it in here. Is Persephone. Where's she? Right? Okay. Another piece I'll be starting February is Puntini for Designer Focus. And this is a freebie from her website. And it says, please enter your pin. I don't have any of her patterns. And if you want to do a sal and you don't have that designer's pattern, go to their website, because many designers have a freebie like this to print out. And I have this scrap of 40 count putty by Weeks Dye Works. I'm going to stitch it on. And she gives you Belle Soie, but she also gives you DMC alternatives. That's what I'm going to do, is the DMC alternatives on this, and make it into a little cushion like this is my goal. I have a hate relationship with Pinterest. I'm just going to be honest. The concept is a really good concept, but I have seen so many copyright violations on there that Pinterest doesn't monitor. So that bugs me personally. But going to the designer's actual website and downloading a freebie, that I don't mind, because it increases the traffic to their website, which works in the algorithm somewhere. But also it gives you a chance to try the designs to see if you like them or not. Yeah, there's been some designs through the years. I've been stitching for 30 years and that oh, that's just a cute design, and I start and I don't like the colors. I don't like the charting, the symbols. I know there was one project I tried so hard, and I do not get headaches, but I had a huge headache and I said, forget this. I'm not doing this piece. If you're worried about that happening, go check out their websites. And now, brick and mortar LNSs often have legitimate freebies from designers. If it's a legitimate freebie, I have no problem picking it up from an LNS. But go to the designer's website. You will find something there. So this piece for my other fancy lady, Persephone, she is my oldest whip. She's on 32 count Lugana vintage antique fields. I have no idea who dyed this fabric. It's not printed. It looks a lot like antique country mocha, but it's dyed. It's definitely dyed. And I have her in the Q-snaps. You're not going to see everything, but last time I showed her, I had like the center, like here, done. I have all of this done, and I'm working up. I'm not doing the wallpaper. So here's where she's at. These openings you see here, beads, 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 beads. There's a lot of beads here. She does not have metallics on this piece, but there are a lot of beads on this piece. So there's going to be beads kind of in these strands that are coming off of her arms and her gown. And while there's big chunks of color through here, oh, confetti. There's a lot of little confetti here, and there's a little strand that goes along like here. This is confetti. But yeah, we're not fighting, and I see a finish coming on this piece. Now this chunk, this is where her arm goes in. I am not doing skein 1/1. No. I know some people love doing it, bless you. But I just haven't started the skin. So that will be there, and her bodice comes up here, so that's what I'm working on, is her bodice. This part of the skirt is done stitching wise. Although I do believe there's a little bit of back stitching, like stems on the flowers maybe, that I have to add when I get that far, but I do the basic stitching, then the back stitching on Mira's, and then the beading. And the basic stitching including metallics or silks when they're called for. They're not called for on this particular design. She's still in my Q-snap, otherwise I would show you guys the entire skirt because the colors are just stunning. It's stunning. And so I do see a potential finish of her this year, which would be good because I started her in 2013. So yeah, 10 years. That's good. And I try and always stitch on my oldest whip. I've been able to knock a few out that way. Here's this one. That's that one. Okay. The piece that I've been stitching on this week for the sampler and for the blue, I have to take the pattern off. Just give me just 1 second here, because I still have it on my Lowry, is The Greatest Loss by Sampler Cove. I was asked if this is an out of print pattern. To my knowledge, it is not. That being said, this one is not available on 123 Stitch. Some of her other designs are available on 123 Stitch. I bought this one from Garibaldi Needlework through Etsy. Again, I don't have a clue if that store is still in business or any of that. But it's just, I love the colors, and this counts as a sampler, and this counts because there are blues in this. And this is on 40 count platinum. You're not going to see the top row, but you'll see where I'm at. So Sunday, during Sunday Zoom, I was able to finish this row. So you have the green here, and you have the blue flowers, and then there's purple flowers. They're 4-sided stitch on each one. And then I went back, and the gold are eyelets. There you can see them. And this row, those flowers, queen stitches. Except for the centers. The centers are Rhodes stitches, and I like Rhodes stitches. Queen stitches took me a while to figure out. The diagram didn't make any sense, but I looked on YouTube, and Jan Hicks has a tutorial on queen stitches. And to be honest, I didn't even watch her tutorial. I just looked at the thumbnail picture. Boom, light bulb went on, and it worked. So check YouTube, and Jan Hicks, she does a number of different tutorials for different stitches and tips and techniques for cross stitch if you need ideas or help. This one is basic cross, although there's four-sided stitch in there, basic cross. These bands here are a certain specialty stitch, kind of a double running. Each row has at least one specialty stitch in it. This row here, these will just be basic cross stitches, 2 different colors. So think of a piece of ribbon where it has the border on the top and the bottom. That's how I think of these. So this will go purple, gold. And then this section is the purple, they call it the CC section, and then you'll have gold outlines. So let me put this down for a second. So this is the band I'm working on now. So I'm getting toward the center. Then there's words, and then I'll be at the center of the design. A lot of this is the black work, back stitch in both of these little bands here. And then I get to this guy. This guy I'm really looking forward to. There's 1/1 in the center of those flowers. But yeah, it's a beautiful piece. I like her patterns. Her symbols are very nice to use. In this particular piece, they're all capital letters that are distinct from each other. And it's very logical. It uses a Vera Soie. I'm 1 strand over 2 threads. I don't think I've had a specialty stitch that would say otherwise, like you need 2 strands, but if I get to the bottom and I need more than 1 strand, according to the specialty stitches, I'll do it. Okay, let's see. This this goes to Persephone. For those of you who don't do videos, you'd be surprised at the mess we make. This last Saturday, I had a chance to go to Stitchville and a Stitch In. Just sit there and stitch with other ladies. So I brought my Blackbird, Sweet Land of Liberty book, and I worked on this piece here, which is called Salute to Abigail. Just this sampler. I'm doing mine on 40 count Mayflower by Fox and Rabbit. I am not using the called for silks, which are thread gather silks. I'm using Dinky Dyes conversion and 1 strand over 2 threads. I only had like this little bit of leaf here, so I added blue vine there, blue vine here, the red flowers. There's only 4 colors in this whole design. 2 different blues, the red and a white. So 1 strand over 2 threads on that piece. I think that's my stitching, except that Winterhill. I started it and I'm not sure where I put it. I have a bin out there of projects to do in 2023. It's probably in there. So let's talk a little bit of haul. I don't want this to go too long. I ordered from Garon Stitchery Magwayen by Bella Filipina. I have not started her yet. I have 2 pieces of fabric, and I'm not sure which piece to start her on. 32 count Belfast Vintage Stormy Clouds. This one is a printed fabric. I believe it's kind of a antique country mocha Zweigart, and this is like a blue gray version. Or on this is 32 count down the, oh, it's called Mayflower Gray, DOTN. I'm blanking on the design, on the dyer. So I'm thinking I might put her on this. And I have the silks and I have the metallics. Again, I'm switching from Krennic to Petite Treasure Braid. Unless she called for Petite Treasure Braid. She might have called for Petite Treasure Braid. But she does have a couple silks in her. Down on the needle, down on the, it'll come to me as soon as I hit stop. I also ordered La Capate, which according to the designer, these 2 are companion pieces. And 32 count Glastonbury Tour by Fabrics by Stephanie. I think she would look amazing on there. Again, I have the silk and the, she call for metallics? She does not call for metallics. I know Magwayen does. But also from Garon, I won a giveaway that they had on their website from Fox and Rabbit. I won the butterfly pack, so Butterfly Bliss and the Monarch. Sorry. I am on the tail end of the cold. These are both charted for DMC. So I won those. And then I also ordered, this is the one I couldn't find last time, Tala, Deity of the Stars. As soon as I turned the video off, I looked at my shelf, which I looked at 5 times during the video, and there she's sitting there. She's beautiful. And Daughters of the Estuary. Daughters of Estuary. This one I've wanted since it came out. And so I ordered that one. And these were in December I ordered them. The other fabrics my daughter gifted me for Christmas is Fabric on a Whim Jalapeno, 40 count. And Weeks Dye Works Havana. I love this 40 count. I did Ann Morrison on this. So I'm not sure what to put on them. Oh, I'm sorry, this is 36 count and this is 40 count. Not sure what to put on them. I'm thinking with this one, a monochromatic would look really good, but then I was looking at looking apologize. Give me a second. How do I pause? Okay, I know, last few minutes of the video and there it comes. So I'll find something for these. Stitchville, Black Friday, Rosamond. This reminds me of some of her other classic. Doesn't she have a Sleeping Beauty? I don't have that one. It's out of print. And Fairy Idol. I don't have that one either. So sorry. And then on this last Saturday, my daughter had also gifted me a gift certificate to Stitchville. So I purchased Newcastle Bouquet Biscornu. Although for some reason I called it Nantucket. And I'm like, and Robin looked at me, I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound right. But it's this one. And 46 count Mayflower, right? No. 46 count Lakeside Linen light exemplar. Tips on stitching on 46 count, because I have not stitched on 46 count before. I would appreciate it, beyond the fact I'm going to use one strand. Advice, please. But I also picked up this one, Nightingale. I've seen some progress of some stitchers on Facebook. Beautiful. I don't know what fabric to put her on though. And I picked up this one, God Bless America by Plum Street. So, yeah, that's my haul. Yes, I hear that there's some kind of scam going on the YouTube. If I ever do a giveaway video, which I do plan on doing another one, you'll hear it directly from me. And I would ask you to contact me via my email, not some third party, fourth party person. So if you see any comments like that on any of my videos, just let me know. They're not really me. They're not really me. And it annoys me that the trolls try and do that, try and destroy our community that way. But I'm going to let you go before I start coughing again. And don't know when I'll probably talk to you again in March. I'll go for once a month. And maybe I'll be farther along on this guy to show you progress on that. Because I need to do the binding and then this guy and then my son's quilt. And baby number 8's quilt. So, love to you all, and I'll talk to you later.